Alright, this is part 2 of my video blog for my lawnmower restoration. Pulled the bonnet off and got the battery on a charger, and I started disassembling everything off of the motor in preparation for motor removal. So I've got everything, all the wiring for the lights and the magnetos and throttle linkage and everything all the way back to the dash so far has been labeled and removed. It appears the previous owner or someone had bypassed all the safety switches, which is fine for what I'm doing. I'm not going to bother trying to have the safety switches reattached. This wiring harness looks pretty awful. I'm probably going to just make a new one from scratch. I may try to salvage at least the part that plugs into the actual key switch down there. Other than that, I think the rest of it's probably just going to have to go. It's so hacked up and torn up, and there's no sheathing around half of it anymore, and it's just not looking that good. I just drained the oil out of the mower, or it's still dripping, but I just had to use a crap ton of engine degreaser to clear out a good clear spot around the drain plug hole to let the oil out. But the good news is that the oil came out clean, and the magnet on the end of the drain plug was completely empty, so there weren't any filings on it. So that made me happy about the motor. It ran really well when the previous owner ran it earlier today. Well, and by well I mean I didn't hear any knocking or any sounds that sounded like the internals of the motor were damaged. So I don't think I'm going to mess with the internals. Of course, the carburetor is going to need a rebuild, and the fuel pump's going to need a rebuild, and the ignition I may leave alone since it is working. Of course, this is all getting painted and everything else to look really nice, but I think I'm going to leave the internals alone. I mean, the engine has good compression. Let's see what else. Disconnected the starter wire and the fuel line. I got just a bolt in the end of it to keep the fuel from spilling out. So what I'm going to do now is try to get the motor off, get it sat down somewhere where it'll be safe and out of the way so I can chill while I'm tearing down the rest of the mower. The belts actually look pretty decent. Look like they were replaced pretty recently, so I'm going to probably reuse those at least for now until I decide if I'm going to change the pulleys out or anything like that. There's still a lot I don't understand about this mower, mostly how the PTO works, because it didn't come with a deck. But some cool things that I have discovered while I've been just kind of diving into this to do some exploratory surgery is that it actually has the... Sorry, I'm really bad at keeping my camera oriented correctly. It has the classic old belt twist method where the belt starts rotating in one direction and then it twists around. By the time it gets to the back pulley, it's rotating in the other direction, or it changes the axes from vertical to horizontal, which is an old school design, but it works. I'm not gonna mess with it. But I've got this old school transmission in here with a fill plug and a drain plug, and on top of that, and this is really hard to see, but it's cool if I can get the camera to look at it. You see what that is right there? That's a Hurst. It says Hurst on the brake caliper, which is pretty cool. I haven't played around to see what kind of transmission it is yet. I know it's a 3-speed, but I haven't really messed with it. Or the transaxle, excuse me. Yes, that was kind of a cool find as to what to use. There's a lot of old safety switches, like you can see that one right there that's mounted. That have been disconnected. I'm probably gonna pull those out. I'll probably keep them just in case for something. But I'm pretty excited. It definitely, everything's looking in good shape, or at least restorable condition. The only thing that I think is probably gonna have to be redone, metalwork wise, is the battery place, or the place where the battery sat. You can see that little mat there, but when you look underneath it, it's just trashed. It's caving in and rusted out over there, so I imagine from about here to here, I'm probably going to have to get some scrap metal and try to custom fab a new pan for the battery to sit in, preferably something not out of, well, I mean, I guess I could make something out of plastic. I don't know. I'll have to think on that. So, yeah, that's kind of an update on the progress. It's coming along. Next thing we should see, the motor should be out.